Today I want to talk a little bit of my first impression of this little camera, Lumix GX85. This is not going to be a scientific review of this camera, it's just my personal experience of using this camera for a short period of time. I've owned quite a few cameras before I landed on a 2-camera setup, a GH5 and a Canon EOS R. They are both fantastic cameras. However, I have been looking for a smaller camera that I can carry around every day. It has to be able to do both videos and photos reasonably well. Recently, I came across a video on YouTube from a guy called Spencer Whiteman. He described his awesome experience with this little camera, and I decided to give it a try since it's so affordable and I already have a few native lenses to work with it because I also own GH5. So here it is. First, let's talk about my experience of using this camera as a portrait photo camera. I will be showing you some photos I shot with my girlfriend. I brought this camera along with the Leica 25mm f1.4, the Panasonic 42.5mm f1.7, and of course the 12-32 kit lens. They are such a lightweight combo, and the 3 lenses cover all the focal lengths I need for photos. The 25mm and the 42.5mm are perfect lenses for this camera for doing portrait work. They are really sharp and focus really fast in continuous autofocus mode when you are shooting photos. Not to mention, I can get really nice shadow depths of field using this camera with the lenses. Overall, I just feel much more creative with this little setup than with my bigger setup, because too much attention from other people just doesn't help with creativity. Now let's talk about video. This camera can do 4K up to 30 frames per second with 1.1 times crop and 60 frames per second at Full HD with full sensor readout. So the video out of this camera is just gorgeous. I shot everything using natural color profile with everything turned down to -5 except for saturation turned down to -3. This is the exact setting that Spencer used in his videos, and I found the result is really nice. The in-body image stabilization on this camera is really good, almost as good as GH5. This makes this camera a perfect handheld camera. I know you guys are interested in its low-light performance. Well, I'm very impressed with its low-light capability when paired with the right lenses. Here I'm showing a few clips I shot during the night. Now let's talk about the things I really like on this camera besides what I have already talked about. First, the battery life. The battery life is as good as GH5's battery, if not better. I shot all the photos and night videos and I still got 2/3 of the juice left on the battery. So I didn't actually swap the battery once. Second, the assisting features you can find in this little camera. For example, focus peaking, zebra, they are just such useful tools. The third thing I really enjoy is the viewfinder and monitor switch button. that you can find on other higher-end Panasonic cameras. It just makes life so much easier to be able to switch between viewfinder and monitor quickly. Let's talk about the things I don't really like about on this camera. First, someone you just don't get 24 frames per second at Full HD when shooting MP4 format. You will have to change to AVCHD to use 24 frames per second at 1080p resolution. Second, the plastic and not weather-sealed body. I guess I shouldn't complain too much considering its price point. But not being weather-sealed definitely concerns me if I bring it to a harsh weather condition. Lastly, the lack of a headphone jack. Again, not a deal breaker for me since I can record audio externally, but it would be much nicer if you have the external microphone input option available on this camera. Overall, I feel this camera just encourages me to shoot more photos and videos just because of its small size. A lot of time, size doesn't matter a lot. No matter what kind of high-end cameras you own, if you hesitate to bring them out, you won't enjoy the fun. So this wraps up this video. Hope you enjoyed this content and please consider subscribing. I will see you next time.